So you might be aware that Greenland has been a hot topic everywhere, especially because Trump has its both of his eyes on it. And we need to start with a meme because this is a serious matter that is going on. Serious matters that is going on with this region. But at the same time, how to say this? It is ripe for memes. And President Trump posts himself showing a map of Canada and Greenland being part of the United States to the European leaders of the Oval Office. Of course, this is AI. This is not real, but you can see. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to zoom in, and you're going to notice that it's not only, of course, the United States that has the flag, not only Canada that has a flag, not only Greenland that has a flag, but there's a fourth country that has the flag. Can you see what it is? I think that we are playing Blue's Clues all the time in this show. Can you see the fourth country? Yes, it's Venezuela. He included in the meme. Venezuela also has the United States flag. And again, this is something that I dreamed about in the early 90s. Many Venezuelans are gonna call me crazy, but yeah, I dreamed about in the early 90s with the United States. It's something that I was a big fan of the United States back then. Yeah, make Venezuela great again. Make that a 51st, 52nd state. Let's go for it. Oh my God, I'm gonna get crazy calls with this words that I'm saying. But it's a meme. It's a meme, and this is not the only meme that we have. We have other ones. You remember that meeting, that actual meeting with the EU leaders. This is the moment Trump realized he can just take Greenland. I can just take it. Because this is just a bunch of beta dudes, and maybe the only one who has the cojones is not a dude, is Giorgia Meloni. I'm going to talk about Georgia in a minute. But yeah, this is something that is actually happening. And this is the meme that I showed you at the start of the show. Epic. President Trump posted himself planting the USA flag in Greenland with J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. Cue the meltdowns. And meltdowns, well, I'm going to say that the meltdowns did not disappoint. We have a big one here. I'm going to show you the member of parliament, the Danish member of parliament, Anders Vistisen to Trump. Let me put this in words you might understand. Mr. President, F off. And I had to just double check that he actually said that.
Let me put this in words you might understand. Mr. President, fuck off. Det var næsten sådan ordene lød, da jeg for et år siden stod på den selv samme talerstol og sagde meget klart, at hvis Trump...
I'm sorry, colleague, this is against our rules. As much as you might feel or the...
He got called out for that. At least he went for it. I mean, that's the spirit. If you want to say something, just go ahead and say it. I think that's something that should be done. That is the right approach. And Giorgia Meloni, that I mentioned her earlier, she said that President Trump was open to dialogue on Greenland, but Europe sent mixed signals that looked anti-American. She wants to remind everyone that the U.S. is not a threat or an enemy. She is the European voice of reason. Giorgia Meloni is the European voice of reason. And I think that she also wants to remind everyone that, well, let's say that America has a lot of weight in geopolitics worldwide. So I think that she is trying to everybody to chill out and put things in context.
Mi pare che diciamo, il rischio sia quello che le iniziative di alcuni paesi europei fossero lette in chiave, posso dire, anti-americana, e invece non era quella l'intenzione che si aveva. Chiaramente gli attori che preoccupano sono per tutti altri, no? Però questo messaggio mi è sembrato che non fosse affatto chiaro.
She wants to do this, she wants to be like the one who equalizes the equation, because you know that to Greenland was sent these forces. I think that I have a graphic here with the forces, the sheer amount of forces that were sent to Greenland to defend Greenland from any invasion, including but not limited to, I think that this is all that they had. France, 15 dudes. Germany, 13 dudes. Sweden, 3 dudes. Norway, 2 dudes. Finland, 2 of them, a lone British chap, and alone Netherlanders. So that is baffling. That is I don't know what they are doing. I'm guessing that they are all picking on the Breton, and again there are good signals out there that people are trying to make sense of this. But at least it seems that China and Russia are not, at least Russia. I would say Russia because I need to talk about China. We were joking about that super embassy, but we need to talk about China in terms of rare earth minerals in Greenland. But as far as Russia is concerned, Lavrov already said that Russia has zero interest in interfering with Trump's efforts to take Greenland for the United States, and that Russia is just going to mind its own business. I think that is really interesting because you would remember that Greenland is basically what it's between. I'm gonna try to picture this here. You have the United States. So we're gonna see the world right now, literally. We have the United States. We have Canada, which I already made a video that Mark Carney is getting in bed with Xi Jinping. It's opening the doors of Canada to China, which is an actual threat in the region. This shouldn't be happening. And Mark Carney, I think that he wants to get back at Trump doing that. I mean, how stupid can that be? But you can't fix the stupid. You can't fix the stupid. And instead of trying to create this block against this threat, oh no, Orange Man bad, let's do something against that. So we have Greenland that I think that is way smaller than this, in fact. But this is how we're going to represent. You notice that immediately you have Scandinavia and Russia. This is the area that is, let's say, up for grabs for control. And if Russia doesn't have a problem with that, if Lavrov already said that Russia doesn't have a problem with this, because you know that Russia is already in a big mess up, it's still in a big mess up with Ukraine, then it's all fair game. And why does the United States want Greenland? Why is Trump talking about Greenland over and over again? Well, you have not only the rare earth minerals that are being used right now for magnets. Magnets are necessary for two main things that are all the rage right now, which is AI chips and electric vehicles. So you have those, I think that I forgot the names. I reviewed the names, but I forgot. There was at least 4 of them. Greenland, it's great about it, and that would tip the scales in America's favor in terms of this rare earth that Venezuela at the same time also has part of this rare earth minerals, rare earths. And what is the other thing? That's why I don't think that China is that comfortable with this happening. At the same time, if we go back to the world diagram, you notice that there's let's say in some parts of this, we're looking at this, looking at this the wrong way. Let me see if I can fix this. All right, so you see that there's Japan, there's South Korea, you have China in here. Technically, if you could secure this sea space here, Asia could do commerce with Europe much easier without going through the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal is right here, and Asia is on this part. They technically could go through the Bering Strait, all right, which is this small strait here between Russia and Alaska. And that would save 7,000, I think, kilometers or miles. I think it was 7,000 kilometers of, which is a lot. It's a lot. It will be easier for Asia to do commerce with Europe. Again, all of this, it is contested, and at the same time, it would be beneficial to Europe. I don't know why Europe. I have the idea that Europe doesn't want this because, nobody wants an easy win for Trump. Nobody wants an easy win for Trump. He's gonna buy it, but the problem is that is it being sold? I don't know. There are people who actually in Greenland. They're pushing for this. As usual, it's not everyone in Greenland, though the population of Greenland, I don't know. It's let me see, what is the total population of? You need to check this out. All right. Greenland's population is very small, hovering around 56,000 to 57,000 people. So if you see a video like this by Nick Shirley back in, this was 1 year ago, Greenland for Trump.
I'm here in Greenland. This kid's got a MAGA hat on. What's your message to Donald Trump?
Fight Greenland.
Fight Greenland.
Fight Greenland. Fight Greenland.
No more Danish.
No more Danish. We don't like Danish people.
There's another comment in here that I agree that he will get it cheaper than anyone expected. I think I agree with you, Rick Lee, Carnivore. Trump is first and foremost a businessman, and as first and foremost a businessman, I've told you, and this goes through the same pattern. He wants this. He wants to organize this. Again, this is a mess of. Okay, he wants to organize all this so America can get a cut, Europe can get a cut, Asia can get a cut, Russia can get a cut. It's like Oprah with the cars, okay? Because Trump knows that open and free commerce is the way to prosperity. Again, there are interests, of course, that if you seize the territory of Greenland, you will have access to those rare earths that are so important to win this technology race. At the same time, when people say that there's an AI race, I have my doubts because I have, as I mentioned you, there's like this, let's say 60 to 80% overvaluation of the actual AI market. That would have a correction anytime soon, especially when you see people like Sam Altman of OpenAI saying that ChatGPT is going to have ads, when he said 1 year ago, that ads was not contemplated at all in ChatGPT, and it's already being tested. So you see, this is what's happening. Okay, we thought that we're going to have flying cars. We don't have flying cars. We thought that AI was going to do everything. Not yet. It's not taking jobs, and the jobs that it's taken, let's say we will have to wait a few months to realize if that is actually working, because I don't think that is, at least with the current AI technology, I don't think that is an actual solution to things. There are other approaches that could be welcome. Miss White, the simple diplomatic solution is Baron Trump marries Princess Isabella of Denmark, and Greenland is given to America as dowry payment. I mean, this is a great idea. This is a great idea. I'm not gonna lie. It's really fun. Trump also has some words for this. He says that Europe has to hand over Greenland because Denmark cannot protect it, and he is to a great extent right. If anybody wanted to just grab Greenland, they could do that because no, Denmark doesn't have the firepower. Europe doesn't have the firepower for this. They don't even go there because a boat went there 500 years ago and left. That doesn't give you title to property. It's like his joke of 2 dog sleds protecting Greenland.
The Arctic Russian threats is important to you. Why are you upset about NATO allies thinking that more seriously in Greenland by holding military exercises?
Well, that wasn't a military. They sent a few people, and they say they sent them not for me, but to guard against Russia. But NATO's been warning Denmark for about 20 years now, longer than that, 25 years. They've been warning Denmark about the Russian threat. And it's not only Russia, it's also China. So we'll see what happens, but let's put it this way. It's going to be a very interesting Davos. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good flight. Thank you.
Yeah, I was saying that Europe has to do something about it. Other takes that I had in here, there's some back and forth posted by Trump himself, from President Macron to President Trump. My friend, we're totally in line on Syria. We can do great things on Iran. I don't understand what you're doing on Greenland. Why? Why are you bullying us? I don't know. This, you can put sunglasses on the man. You can put sunglasses on Emmanuel Macron, but he's still a wimp. I hope that they do the right thing. Coach Noah Revoy, Trump goes to Europe and says, you're going to need to build up your militaries because the United States cannot afford to keep large armies stationed in Europe anymore. We're going to need to pull them out. Europe responds, no, we don't want to do that. There are many hawkish politicians back in America also respond, no, we do not want to do that either. So Trump says, in that case, I am taking Greenland. And suddenly, Europe decides to build up its military. It increases the number of soldiers, expands equipment, stockpiles, and ramps up its capacity to produce military goods. I mean, this is something that Trump does all the time. He gets leverage from triggering people the right way. That's that is the joke, that if Trump said that breathing oxygen is good for you, then the liberal population will drop really quickly in a matter of minutes. But that is reality. That's how he does his thing. He knows that people despises him. A lot of people despise him, and he weaponized that against them. It's like I'm gonna tell them like this reverse engineering, the reverse Trump psychology to make people act the way that he wants. It doesn't always work as he expects. Sometimes it's like in the sense of Iran. He has said a lot about Iran, but maybe it hasn't worked the way that he expected. But most of the time it works, and especially internally has worked like a charm. A couple of things that I want to mention here before we wrap up the Greenland topic is that, shockingly, our quote-unquote brilliant NATO ally, the United Kingdom, is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia, the site of a vital U.S. military base, to Mauritius, and to do so for no reason whatsoever. There is no doubt that China and Russia have noticed this act of total weakness. These are international powers who only recognize strength, and that's why I tell you, maybe Lavrov said that Russia is okay with the Greenland thing. I find it surprising because it would have America basically dominate the North Pole, basically. But I don't see anything that Russia can do about that. Russia is already crippled by the Ukraine war. But China is the issue here, but at the same time, the move on Maduro and the control of Venezuela, you already know, if you have been following my videos and my analysis, you already know that the move on Venezuela was also to make a move on China, and this domino effect and this chain reaction that we are still trying to make sense of. I am still trying to make sense of, and as soon as I connect more dots, you will not know about it right here. So make sure you like and subscribe. But let me know what you think about this in the comments.